Senator Gedeon.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, the motion on the floor at the moment speaks of a borrowing of 32,800,000 US dollars, EC dollars, for sports and financing of the government budget. Madam President, I heard a few moments ago the former PS and president of the National Olympic Association really going down on sports, saying that sports was in a mess. And all of a sudden, it seems by some magic wand, after 2.5 years, sports will be given its right place in St. Lucia. But what I know of, if sports was in a mess in St. Lucia under her watch, I'm trying to wonder how can it be something so good 2.5 years into this government's reign. Yeah, but she was the PS, she was the one in charge.
Madam President, on a point of order. Yeah, I think you're misleading, or you're misleading the House. 2 years ago, I retired from the government service, and I left the government service. I was not, Madam President, yes. I left the government service in 2015, and I joined the United Workers' Party in 2016. And of course, I ran for public office.
So,
and 2 years on, we are here presenting the strategy and new direction for the government of St. Lucia. Thank you.
so what? Huh?
Senator Gedeon, I have not seen a discrepancy between what the minister has said and what you have said. I think she's provided additional information, but I haven't seen a discrepancy. Could you repeat what it is?
She more or less is substantiating my point, Madam President, because I never said that 2.5 years of her ruling in the sports department. I said she was the former PS and president of the National Olympic Association. So I am saying that she said, that was her words, that sports in the country was in a mess. That is what she said. She said that.
Madam President.
So it can't be me saying anything wrong.
Madam President, I'm just trying to understand his basis for saying that, because I think I was very clear. I was very clear that the differences between administrations is not there for me to compare, and I would not do that. I think the issue there for me is that we are now looking at a new strategy for the development of sports, and that is what we are here to support and endorse and get the $42 million for.
Please continue.
And I never said sports was in a mess. I would never do that, because I was a beneficiary of sports.
Exactly.
Yeah? So I need you to go through Hansard and see, and I would like you to withdraw that comment, because it's not a comment I would make.
But it is what the lady said, the senator said that I wrote on my document. That is what she said.
What did I say?
She said that country, sports was in a mess in the country.
No, I would never say that.
That is what she said.
I read, so you have a copy here?
Go for it.
It would never be written in there.
Go for it.
That's not my style, sir. I was very clear that I am very respectful of people's contribution to the development of sports, and I take strong offense to you indicating that I said that sports was in a mess. Madam President, this is my view on this.
Minister, please have a seat.
Don't put words in my mouth, sir.
Senator Gideon, do you withdraw the statement?
Which statement is this, Madam President, that I
That-
should withdraw?
That the minister said that sports was in a mess?
So you saying that she never said that? She's saying that she never said it.
I'm asking if you will withdraw it or not.
Madam President, I am quoting exactly what the senator said in her speech. That is what she said. She said that sports was in a mess in the country.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
That's what she said. You want the tip back?
So I'm going to ask
So,
for us
and the
to
con-
get, I'm going to ask the, Madam Clerk that we get the script, please.
I will not say.
Please proceed, Senator Gideon.
Anyway, Madam President, I'll continue. Madam President, I am, as an individual, my studies, every study that I've done has been in the field of sports. Both my first degree and my master's were done in sports. And so, I speak not from any hearsay position, I speak from a learned position. Okay? And a sports strategy, Madam President, basically outlines for us the way that we move on. We develop sports, and what do we do to develop sports, and so on. But as was spoken of, rightly spoken of, here it says that, be it resolved that the minister takes the $24,300,000 to finance a national sports infrastructure strategy. And then we had a presentation by the line minister of sports of 5 distinct grounds that would be developed. So I am saying, yes, we're developing 5 grounds for sports. But, Madam President, 2.5 years, going into 3 years now, before, were there not sports grounds that were developed and could have been utilized for young persons in St. Lucia? What were all playing areas, community areas were abandoned. All of them. You go to certain communities and then you have grass, knee-high sometimes, and cows and horses are to graze on them. 2.5 years. So I know if I'm an aspiring sports individual, 2.5 years of doing nothing, that's a lot of time that is lost. A lot of time that is lost. And it's not going to take 2.5 years. Thereafter, when I have a ground to go and train and whatever, that means my development has been hindered. It has been hindered. And this is exactly what St. Lucians are facing today. Those persons who are sports-oriented, their development have been hindered. And it is nothing strange, the reason why we have so many problems now with our young persons in the country. Because they have nowhere to go and do the thing. Nowhere. So if I am a government that is interested in the development of young persons, I'm not going to wait until I have top of the line grounds. Then I'll pass and say, I give you top of the line grounds, so I expect you to be a top of the line athlete. I will take it from then on and establish, let them work, give them an area, satisfy them with a nice area where they could work, and then I go on with my plans to develop further, put my AstroTurf and whatever. The consequences of the AstroTurf, we are going to know later. We are going to learn it later. And I know that AstroTurf, the material that it is made of, is basically almost like a nylon kind of grass. Yeah, nylon kind of grass. I am not beating on AstroTurf. I'm not beating on it. It has its time, it has its place where it could be and be done properly. If it's done properly, then it could benefit. But I'm saying before this, 2.5 years, the youth in St. Lucia are suffering. In Dennery, for example, there is absolutely nothing like football in Dennery. Nothing like football in Dennery. So much so that Dennery, who was once an aspiring community when it comes to football, highly rated, what happened? They did poorly in Blackheart. There was another tournament where it was like champions tournament held somewhere in the valley. They failed at this. Why? No opportunity for practicing. Poor grounds to practice. Nothing whatsoever. And they failed miserably. And they say it, they speak of it. They speak of it. So if Denrians can speak of it, much less persons from other communities. So what I'm saying, if we are interested in our young people, Madam President, if we are desirous of seeing our young people go forward, why stifle them? Why stifle them? 2.5 years, going to 3 years. Football is not played in Dennery, period. No kind of football is played in Dennery, apart from a few little boys. You put yourself in a corner, poorly developed grounds, and then you play.
Order, please.
You see? So, the whole understanding of this loan, what it is going to do, and how. I heard Dennery is involved. Dennery has 2 playing areas. But I remember in the last administration before the Labour Party gained office, we had a wonderful playing area, cricket, to play cricket in Dennery. Wonderful playing area in Dennery. What happened? The same people were saying that they're interested. They allowed it to just grow out. Yes, it was grown out of proportion. We had persons taking care of these grounds. They were released of the jobs. Go ahead, we don't need you. Release of the job. And these few men, there were 2 gentlemen in particular, Jadi and Ijaman. These guys on a daily basis would go on this ground and make sure that this ground remained and kept its pristine level. At a pristine level. Great ground. I mean, that is where English students would come and play cricket. The English students would come and play cricket right there. On the tours to St. Lucia. Mr. Roland Cox would bring them to Dennery. That was one of his chosen areas in Dennery to play. Right now, go there. Nothing like cricket. Not a fly. Nothing. Nothing. And we are interested in young people. Yeah, this ground, I mean, and Jadi and Ijaman used to do their best at maintaining this ground. They would have kept them there, and they would have done their best, and they would have a nice area to play. Yeah, they came in and what they said to them, go. You're not needed. Go. And today now, our young persons, young professional, what you hear a gentleman comes in and says, well, look, I'm going to put AstroTurf. We're going to have an AstroTurf pitch in Denry. I live to see it. I live to see it. I love to see it. Well, no, the one, I don't know if cricket could be played on it. I don't know, but I would advise Denrians don't play cricket on it. I would advise them, you know. So, Madam President, I'm saying that the initial things, little things, in this sports strategy and action plan, what is there for persons who would want not to be playing sports, but they would want to make their involvement in sports, make a reputation or make a job, get a job out of a career, out of sports, whether you be a coach, you could be a psychologist, sports psychologist, whether you be a therapist, whether you be a coach, a trainer, or whatever. Is there an opportunity for persons who can say, okay, I could be in St. Lucia, I could take sports development as a career, I could do sports training, get an opportunity, and go to school, get a start off, and then make one of the sporting disciplines, get a career out of one of them, that I may not play sports, but I could at least administer my assistance, my help, my time in that aspect of sports. Because, Madam President, this is, playing sports is just not about a facility, not about just having a facility. There is more to it than that. There is more to it than that. Yeah? And then when the time comes, I'm hoping that this sports policy, this sports strategy, although 90% or 100% of what we've heard is strictly about developing grounds. That is what I've heard and read, developing grounds. You said that our local grounds are not good, so they're going to come, cover it up, and then have it. But, Madam Speaker, there's a cost to it. In our temperate climate, in this climate of ours, maintenance is a massive issue there. In our tropical climate, maintenance, this thing has to be wet in order to temper the temperature on the grounds before it's been played. So I'm hoping that we have sufficient water, that when the time comes, that we'll be able to water this playing area, and then we have enough money that when the bill comes, we will say, okay, we can pay that. Because there's serious issues, serious problems with this stuff. It's not a matter of just, it's nice. Yes, it's beautiful. It's nice, it's great. They are both medical and maintenance issues. They are medical and maintenance issues. You slide on this, you get cut. You slide, you get cut. There's not a matter of knowing how to tackle. There's not a matter of knowing how to tackle, because you can just inadvertently slide and then you get bruised. You get bruised. Yeah? So it's just not a matter of coming and say, well, we're going to build this, we're going to put this and that. There are consequences. Were all these things taken into consideration? So, Madam President, I believe right now, with all this grandest plan, all of this grandest plan, I'm concerned about the involvement of St. Lucians. How many St. Lucians were involved? And I need to ask, no, madam, you were involved? Did you have an input in it? You had an input in it? Okay, nice. Nice. You see, so, Madam President, I think that while the ideas and the plans may look good, the underlying factors are what that I will consider. Underlying factors. And I am of the view that a lot of time has been wasted. 3 years, almost 3 years have been wasted. So that means that our young persons have missed out a lot, quite a bit, both on developing their physical skills and also maybe, who knows, they could have had an opportunity for a young person. I mean, I speak of Dennery. We have young, talented footballers in Dennery, but no opportunities to play. We could have had somebody coming out there, a coach, come, look at them, say, okay, let me take you to my country to ply your trade. Because as I've said, and I'm going to repeat what the senator said, that I believe that, for me, I believe when I look at the whole sports sector, when I look at sports on the whole, I believe that sports, right now, sports is the only way out of poverty for a lot of us in St. Lucia. A lot of young persons in St. Lucia, sports is the way out for them. Sports is the way out for them. And I think that denying him almost 3 years is a lot. Denying him almost 3 years is a lot. Because if you don't have access, there's no way your skills could be sharpened. There's no way your skills could be developed. So I think, Madam President, I am sitting quietly and I'm waiting at the development spoken of, that sports strategy, development, infrastructural strategy. I am awaiting, as I said some time ago to the Minister of Health, I am waiting at the monies and what it's going to do. I'm still going to wait on to see how it's going to shape up. But I know for sure January 2019 would be still blank. Looking at the sports stadium in Soufrière, you have a development in Deriso, you have one in Miko. If all of these things are done at the same time, it's good. Then I would say January will have theirs. January will have theirs in 2019. But I think that's like, you know, these plans are just share bribes. Bribe. That's just to bribe people. There's nothing serious. Honestly, as far as I say, that's just setting a bribe for young persons. To just tell young persons, we will, and they will never see. Thank you, Madam President.